I'm vengeance.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 126 of the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, and Sarah, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Ross last week. Do you want to taste it?
Do you really, really want to taste it?
Like, it's a little different asking you that, but I got to know. Do you want to taste it? You know? That song I actually looked up. Have you ever seen the video for that song? It's insane. And I think they may have taken inspiration for the intro of Peacemaker from the video from that song, which is an 11-year-old song and number one on the rock billboards, which is crazy.
And ironically, they take it to 11.
There you go. Right? Ross, what's up, man?
I'm exhausted. I am tired. I'm ready to talk Batman. It's nighttime. Let's get nocturnal.
Yeah, man. We're going to the Batcave tonight. It's going to be fun.
We'll have to talk about what's behind you on your wall, Ross. Did I miss this?
Which one?
Oh, yeah. You haven't been here since he changed the setup.
Sorry, fellas. I was on my way back from New Orleans last week, so my bad.
No worries.
Finally got around to just putting things on the wall because, you get tired of staring at blank walls.
It looks good. I'm excited to see it grow.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, sorry. Squirrel.
Squirrel as soon as we started. So what's up, everybody? We got not a lot of things to talk about this week. I guess, Sarah, you're going to give us your thoughts on Peacemaker. You caught up on it. You watched it, and hopefully, I think you enjoyed it from what I've heard from you before. So I want to get thoughts on that. Talk about a little bit of news, maybe some what we're watching stuff, and then we're going into the Batcave, talking about our favorite Batman stuff, in preparation for the upcoming Batman movie. We're going to talk about the reviews we've seen of it so far and what we love about Batman. It's going to be really fun. But let's get it started. Wrap up some old stuff. Sarah, you tasted it. You did.
I did.
You finally dipped your toe in and you watched Peacemaker. And I am yet to hear somebody not like this show. We haven't spoken a lot about it, but you did give me some reactions. So I feel like it was a winner for you. But give me some thoughts. What did you think?
Put it this way. I think it was might have been Saturday. I got up. I was like bone dead tired. I was like, I'm gonna sit on this couch. I'm not gonna move. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'll binge Peacemaker. 8 episodes. Shouldn't be it. Dude. Oh my God. I mean, from the get-go, I'm like, yes, you guys are right. I get it. And I knew you were gonna be right. It's just finding the time because once I started it, I could not stop until I finished it. So I literally binged it all day from episode 1 to episode 8. Right off the bat, this was definitely a different Peacemaker than was from Suicide Squad. So I will give credit to that. John Cena, I just absolutely love him. I think he's great. I mean, he just portrayed this character just flawlessly, honestly. I think some of my overall, I will say there, and I think I told you guys this, there's a parent's cautionary tale. Treat your kid like shit, and it's going to come back tenfold. Because that was the most horrendous human being ever, I believe I've ever come across. And there's been some bad characters. I mean, just horrible, but he was absolutely horrible.
In that moment, how bad did you want him to pull? Yeah.
I was like, if you don't, I will. I have never in my life wanted to just right between the eyes so badly.
Yep.
So badly. And I'm just like, why have you waited so long? And I felt so horrible for, because I thought of him as Chris then at the moment. I'm like, I feel so horrible for you because your damn childhood was just a shit show from the day you were born. And that's awful. Especially, when him trying to, deal with his brother and all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't his fault. I mean, who the hell, what kind of shitty ass parent puts your 2 kids in a pit and just have them go out like a cockfight? I mean, that's craziness. But anyways, but other than that, Vigilante, oh my Lord, this guy. Oh my God, that guy. He was something else. He was it was as soon as I saw him without the mask, like behind that, what was it, that restaurant or whatever he was at, because I guess he's like a busboy. I was like, that's him. That is 100% him. You don't even have to tell me. That's him.
Yeah.
Um, and then the Harcourt, was that her name?
Yeah.
Yep.
She was very, very Black Widowish, shall we say? She reminded me a lot of Black Widow,
with a little more chip on her shoulder, I think. Yeah.
Well,
I can get that,
yeah. But I mean, she reminded me a lot, and she was badass, and I get it. But there was a lot of folks that had chips on their shoulders in this show.
Oh, yeah.
A
That
lot
It
of
feels like everyone did.
Yeah, it's like everybody has something to prove. They had like a shitty background. Something horrible happened, and I'm trying to be a decent human being, but I've had all these things happen in my past, and blah blah blah.
Except
like,
Vigilante,
okay.
who's just trying to collect scalps.
That fella, oh my God. You talking about a classic, bless your heart. I mean, right there. But I mean, he added to the story. I mean, you had all these eclectic personalities, and I mean, it was really, but it was very James Gunnish. I will say that, because a lot of it, and like I said, it's only because I've watched Guardians 1,000 times. To me, it had kind of like that, where you're taking these misfits and throwing them together, and they have all these crazy backstories. Everybody's got, all these horrible things that happen, but everybody comes together and they end up being like a family.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty cool. But an eagle, oh my God. Yes, I would so try to take a selfie if I had an eagle hugging me. But then again, that's your boy. I mean, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was really a story that sucked you in, and you really wanted to know what was going on with these guys. You really wanted to know. I mean, I thought it was a great character development, because here I am, on the surface, especially, the only thing you get from Peacemaker was just Suicide Squad. And I'm thinking, man, this dude is like, there's no way in hell he can be that deep, because, you figure he's just black and white. It is, all or nothing. We're going to do it this way or not. And this series just really scratched the surface and drilled deep about, where he's coming from, why, he thought that, where it was really interesting. So I was really surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. But as far as the second season, I don't know if they could top the first. I mean, I feel like I know.
Oh, I think he could. I think he could just go super duper crazy.
Well,
there is, as the thing is, too much gun. Look, here's the thing with gun is I would describe this show as like a Deadpool meets Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good mixture of the two. I didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 really at all, but I love Guardians of the Galaxy 1. The first one, it's one of my favorite Marvel movies. So like there's the good and the bad, and like you said, you can definitely tell this is a James Gunn production just by the comedy that's there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's either hit or miss with him, and this was an absolute hit. And I wonder too, because you binged this, so you basically watched like a 5-hour movie, whereas we watched it weekly. And I wonder what the difference is as far as feelings go with that, because
I think I was more engaged for a longer period of time, because if I had to wait it weekly, I don't know if it would have been it would have struck me as hard.
Really? Okay.
Because I mean, it's because you go from, because there was a lot of, I went through a lot of emotions in this, and I don't know if it was just me, because I'm like, yeah, and then I'm like, oh, you suck. It's, and I mean, I think at one point, there was plenty of, gasping type moments, because you're just like, oh shit, that just happened. Or, and some of the things, some of the things with the whole white power thing, I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I can't really believe they said this, but, unfortunately, there's still people in this world like that. And unfortunately, this guy got what was coming to him, because he was a shitty human being, and it is what it is. And he just sucks that now his psyche, he's stuck with him. I'm like, how do you exercise that? I mean, that's, insane. But it's just like the level of mental abuse that he endured.
Deep.
Yeah, I mean, that's horrible, man. He was like super scarred. And then, like I said, now the fact that, his dad's gone, but yet he's still with him, I'm thinking, oh, that's got to be the worst torture ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
We had talked about that. We had talked about how like it could carry on to like future seasons, and like when it's going to be the second story again. Like, what are we going to do in order to, they're going to keep him there, like in the corner of his mind, just picking and picking and picking and picking away at him until he reaches the moment to where it's too much, and he finds a way to overcome it.
Well, I'm just glad at least he had some. It's not 100% closure, but at least he had, like that 25%, because it was like, right between the eyes. I'm just like, yes. And that's horrible.
And since you streamed it, or since you binged it, you went right into that next episode where they're sitting there in the car and they're just, doing, or in the RV or whatever it is, like, we just killed Peacemaker's dad, and watching
and they're more mad
week.
because she, oh God, I can't even think of her name, which was
Obadiah.
Her daughter, and they're more mad about her planting that diary. I'm like, really? That's what you're going to be fixated on. I mean,
it's principle. I mean, I can understand. I'm a principle person. So,
what did you think about the butterflies?
That was interesting.
Interesting villain. Yeah.
But the thing about it wasn't just that unto itself. It was just the fact that Peacemaker kept one of them and fed it. I'm like,
oh gosh,
really, dude? But it was interesting. It was interesting because it was over the top, but yet it worked. It was just such an odd act because when I saw the cow the first time, I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense, don't it?
Yeah.
Just because I'm thinking, is it like a real deal cow? No, it's just some kind of Mothra looking glowworm shit. I don't even know how to describe that thing.
It reminded me of the thing from Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
I think when I watched it, and I was just, whatever it was, like it sucked the brains out or whatever, the thing that came down and like jabbed into the head. I'm like, this thing is wicked. Like,
I can't say that was my favorite. That was like, oh, no.
Y'all ever seen the movie Evolution?
Oh yeah. Just talking about it.
It reminded me of that the big monster they kill at the end, but with eyes type look. Maybe, or even just a giant snoke. That's what I'll say. Look on a giant snoke. What? Okay. So, what do you think about the cameo? At the end.
Well, it's kind of like I told you guys. I knew about it beforehand. So, but that's one of those things. It's like I knew about it beforehand, but now once it led up to it and you saw the context when it actually came to that, I was like, yeah, I would have the same reaction too. I'm like, where the hell were you guys at? Now you show up. Yeah, fuck off. I ain't trying. No, go on. No. So that was interesting. That was very interesting because I'd be mad as hell. I'd be like, where, but yeah, that was interesting. I'm telling you, it like takes my words. This show, it's kind of like Doom Patrol. It's that craziness. So a lot of times I'm like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Because I don't think I really have words to wrap around my thoughts right now.
So good though. So good.
Yeah, I think that Doom Patrol's a little more crazy.
Well, but it still has that first, that like
what the fuck type reaction.
Exactly. It's not as bizarre.
You got to process. That's pretty much what you have to do. You have to process whatever it is that your eyes are seeing and your brain needs to like interpret. That's the thing about that.
But I just think it's just like with Peacemaker, it's just he still has this level of naivete, and you're just like, dude, read the room. Let's, it's almost like you got this 12 or 13-year-old trapped in this body, and that's just like the brain that he uses because it's like all this sophomore humor. You're just like, oh, okay, dude. All right, really? Like all the fart sounds and all that kind of stuff. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm living that right now.
Welcome to my world.
Exactly.
Well, it sounds like overall you really enjoyed it.
I did.
I haven't met anybody who didn't like it. Not even to the point of like, it was okay. Like they really, really liked it. And once again, it could
I
just be the
just
people that I talked to in my
I
groups.
think it was
but
written well. I just feel I feel like it was written well, even though it was James Gunn. I feel like it was written well, and like I said, the way they handled the
Oh,
characters.
she said, even though it was
Yeah,
James
she
Gunn.
said that.
Dang. Kick
But
in the nut, James
you know what I
Gunn.
mean. You know what I mean. There's been some stuff
I
that
mean,
he's kind of put
he
together
did
that's a little.
that squad. Oh, does that mean? That's definitely mean.
No, I mean, it's not mean, it's truth. Yeah, and it's funny because it's true, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll go with that.
But anyways,
I. All right. Well, I mean, do you find it surprising that it's like the top DC thing going around? Like it's beating every other DC
I do find that's
anything.
well, yeah, and you just mean as far as like rapport and like what people like reviews, right? What people think
Ratings,
about it. Yeah,
reviews.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does surprise me. But at the same time, I never would have predicted that coming. But after seeing the product, I can understand
but I think
why.
it kind of appeals more toward like a general audience as well.
Yeah. Because no one knows who it is. No one's. I
Mhm.
mean, here's the deal: if it wasn't for Suicide Squad, no one would come into it with anything.
Mm-mm.
Like Peacemaker, like if it was just John Cena playing a superhero that no one heard of, besides the fact that he wasn't like spectacular in Suicide Squad,
Mhm.
I don't know how many people would have watched it, but like I I was hesitant when I watched the first 3 episodes because they dropped all 3 of them together. I was not hesitant after that. That
Mhm.
was it.
Well, tell
So,
me this: what about Jujitsu? Was it Jujitsu Master? Is that what he was called? The little green
Judo
dude?
Master.
Yeah, the little booger looking dude
Hmm.
with eating the flaming Cheetos.
I don't know nearly enough about that character to understand why
I
he
know.
needs a suit.
Why do they even have it in there? I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
So I think that the character itself is very funny, and just because he doesn't say anything, he just whoops ass.
and eats
I
flaming Cheetos.
Yeah, literally just munching the whole time, like a straight up high metabolism fool who is never going to
Gets
gain an
shot in the
ounce of
chest and
fat.
still keeps rolling. I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't even phase him at all.
but like Greg said that he thought that they were going to be, he's going to turn over to their side come like the end of it. But
I thought so too. I was
yeah,
kind
I said that he reminded me of the Indian with the crying, with the one tear that falls after seeing the field of trash.
of. Hmm.
Like when he's standing there at the end, he's like, all my people died, all the friends that I was trying to save, and everything else. But Judo Master didn't have depth other than like,
It's almost like he was a comic relief.
yeah,
You know, something very James Gunny that was kind of thrown in there just for like, like little tidbits of laugh. I mean, that's kind of.
look at that guy, just stare at him. He's not gonna do anything, but he's gonna be funny. Just wait.
Exactly.
I think he's eventually part of the team.
He's got to do something. I mean,
Yeah.
here's the deal: they just took out the butterflies, so unless they're going to turn Butterfly version 2.0, where the rest of them attack from, if there's any more of them,
They can bring
I
some more
don't know
cows
what to say.
down.
Well,
Well,
I'm
it's gonna.
interested to know where the teleportation technology came from. I mean, you want to be dead honest, you want to nitpick some small things. Like, I don't want to know where that came from. If they figured out how to come to Earth, then like, where did that come from? So,
Right. Or did they leave, they couldn't have left everything behind. Well, more importantly, there was one left at the end, right?
one of the teleportation thing.
No, one
Teleportation?
butterfly.
Little butterflies.
Oh yeah, well, Goff was left. Yeah, he was feeding
Yeah,
them.
so I mean, what's going to happen to him? Is he going to starve to death? I guess.
Well, there's
Sucks.
got to be more than enough food for one. I mean, they had barrels.
They
of
gotta
that
have
stuff.
like, yeah. I mean, it's
They
gotta be
destroyed it
somewhere. They
all,
gotta
though,
have like
didn't they?
stash somewhere.
There's got to be a warehouse, man.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it'd
This
be
is an
done by now,
operation.
right? Yeah. Good point.
I mean, they were shipping that stuff everywhere.
I'm gonna. I mean, this is gonna lead a little bit into just one of the interesting things that I read, but the fact that they did this as a show backs my reasoning for loving all the television that we're getting
Hmm.
and not enjoying the movies as much. Like, I enjoyed getting Suicide Squad. I don't know if I would have gone to see it in theaters whenever it came out. Luckily, it was on HBO and I got to watch it at home. But But I'm going to tell you, I am not sure if I would have gone out of my way to see Peacemaker, but having it as a show, fucking phenomenal. Because this and Reacher were the two things that Greg and I were watching, and Reacher's fantastic too. Clearly not comic booky, but a great show that you should get on whenever you get the chance to watch that one. There's just something that you can do with television with all the time that you have. Batman was testing all the rumors that were going on about the 4-hour cut of Batman. They had to cut stuff out, but they were testing a 4-hour cut.
Right.
4 hours in a movie theater.
And they also said there's no director's cut, but
yeah,
maybe you'll see a 4-hour cut one day. I'd like to.
And I mean, like the rumor was they pulled out like a talking scene with Barry or something.
Yeah, there was some scene at the end with Barry and a actor they have in announced, but they haven't announced.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
He is. Yeah, I can't remember his name either. So it's like,
but
I don't know.
I mean, that's 8 episodes. They were roughly 40 to 50 minutes each.
Mm-hmm.
So 7-ish hours. I got a whole lot out of this watching it week to week. I wouldn't tell you right now, I feel like all of the emotions still landed week to week and were even better because like you got a chance to like sit with it for a week and really just remember it when you went back to go watch the next episode. But man, dude, I couldn't imagine like when Snyder Cut came out, you were still at home able to watch it. You got to go to theaters,
it up
like
in parts too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can. I'm telling you, I love the television.
Yeah, I get that, and kind of giving credence to your point here. We watched Reacher, and I'd seen bits and pieces of the movie, but once again, I'm not really a huge Tom Cruise fan, and I never read the book, so it just passed me by. I never saw it when it came out, but because I watched the show, me and my wife watched the movie last weekend, and it was a good movie, but not nearly as good as the show, and not just the fact that I like the character in the show that plays Reacher better than Tom Cruise, but everything in the movie felt rushed. Now that I'm watching, now that I've watched an episode or an episodic series of this, and I know it's a different story, it just felt rushed, and I was like, okay. So, yeah, that gives credence to your point right there. That for the most part, I agree. I just don't want to get rid of movies. Like I'm super excited about going to see Batman in theaters this weekend.
And I don't think that you can do a team up as a TV show. Like you can't do like something massive, or if you're going to unveil a character, I think it's a perfect chance to do it in a movie. Mm-hmm. But when you deep dive or you want to do a character study or whatever the case is, like perfect format.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, I feel like with movies, there are, like you said, there's the big characters you don't want to have on television, and I agree with that. But for me, I want to still see movies in theaters, certain movies, because it's more of a nostalgia thing of being in a theater too. Like it's a thing to do. I know a lot of kids are grown, or now it's not really as big of a deal to go to a movie theater because every time I drive by big movie theaters, AMC theaters, there's never cars there. Mm-hmm. And I get it, COVID and everything else going on, but I think a lot of people are just kind of getting going to movies. I don't know. For me, I'm really enjoying the streaming stuff, and I'm really enjoying being able to see it at home. And Ross, you're right, man. I might say I want to see a movie really bad, but if they give it to me, on demand, it's going to be hard for me not to do that. But I still have movies that I want to see in theaters. I still miss that. I don't think that if I was able to watch the Batman at home, I would do it. I think I would still go see this one, particularly in theaters, even though I've had my quarrels with this particular version of Batman so far. But I'm going into it open-minded, and I'm actually kind of excited for it. Or not kind of, I'm really excited for it. So
I never say to rob the situation. Like we can't take, like as long as we can keep movie theaters around. Clearly, I enjoy going to a movie, but man, like it has not been the time for movie theaters, and box offices have reflected every bit of it. So I find it very strange that we keep playing this dangerous game. Like, when's something going to come out? When are we going to be able to pull something out that will actually be worth it? And Spider-Man proved it. I'm hoping that Batman does it too. Uncharted did. I don't remember if it was 30 or if it was 80 over the opening weekend. But I mean, the numbers were okay, but we're still not there. So it would be interesting to see.
The pre-ticket sales for the Batman are coming close to what the Spider-Man numbers were.
Were they?
So yeah, it's gonna be it's piped up pretty good. I think people are excited to see this movie.
It's fallen in the perfect window. So
Oh yeah,
I think that as long as things hold well, then Morbius will be able to follow it and not fall into a slump of getting a bad chance. So
yeah. Well, I think that wraps up our Peacemaker talk with Batman. What do you think? We chased the squirrel again there. We just walked straight from Peacemaker into Batman. It was funny, but is there before we get off Peacemaker, because we're going to be talking Batman all night, and I'm fine with that. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Peacemaker? Because we kind of wrapped up your thoughts and feelings about it, but I didn't know if there's anything else you wanted to point out.
I think I pretty much tied it up with a little bow. I mean,
Yeah.
I was,
Just like
I told you guys plenty of times. I mean, it was like, I'll get to it when I get to it. And I was just glad I was able to binge it all in one sitting because, I mean, and it didn't even feel like it was that long. So, I mean, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much. I mean, I still would have watched it anyways. It would have sucked me in anyways, but I was pleasantly surprised. Let's put it that way.
Now you just got to tell Nathan to watch it. He still doesn't believe us.
Oh, I'm going to work on it.
We're going to convert him. It's going to be one of us one day. But. All right. Well, Ross, we were diving a little bit into some news with just some stories and stuff we were looking at, but you want to anything else you want to talk about news wise?
Yeah, and there's only let's see,
folks. We just discuss.
Well, I'm assuming, Sarah, you heard they were going to do the next Star Trek movie. So apparently, I didn't know. They didn't tell anyone they were going to do a next Star Trek.
Well, the thing had been is like for the longest time, they're talking about Tarantino picking up the next one, which thank God, that would not have been a good fit. And everything had kind of stalled. Yeah, everything had kind of stalled for so long, and finally, I think he just walked away from it, which thank God, because that would not have been a good fit. I'm sorry. There's
bastards in space.
There's just a certain. I'm not one to say Star Trek needs to be a certain way, but when it comes to Tarantino, it needs to be a certain way, and that is not the way. Sorry.
Some directors just don't fit it with their style. Not saying
yes, and nothing against him. It's just for that particular franchise. There's just a certain way to perceive it, and I just can't see it going any other way because. Who the hell knows? But I mean, there's just like this certain, it's like this unwritten rule of the way that the tone needs to be.
Well, just the fact that they came out and said that they were going to do it regardless, like the fact of not telling the actors is what really got me.
Well, I thought there was an issue with Hemsworth because I think they wanted to bring him back at some point, and obviously with the whole MCU thing that. And then I'm sure Pine, I'm sure he was like, give me a little bit of something here too. So, I mean.
No, I'm pretty sure Hemsworth was like, I can't play his dad. My arms don't go down.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I would love to see, with the Kelvin timeline, let's, like I've said so many times, now that it's branched off into like almost another timeline, literally, the possibility of stories are endless. You can go, it's just like with Discovery. Jump it into the future. And then, you can just take off with any other kind of story you want. Yeah, you can have the nostalgia where you're like, oh, yeah, remember, Janeway, Voyager, just kind of hearing those things, in the background. But for the most part, it's something totally new. But you're forging ahead, but you still are keeping the same tone, the same story, just not really the same story, but just
the same feel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just, I don't know the word I'm looking for. It's just Peacemaker just blowing my mind. But but I just feel like there's just a certain criteria you have to stay in line with.
All right. Well, I got to ask, as far as like timelines and jumping into the future and stuff like that, do you feel like I feel like if you can mess up jumping into the future because you can handicap your storytelling. at that point, because now you have a point in time that you have to either meet up with or write stories in between that make sense to get to this point, right?
Well, the thing about Discovery
Mhm.
is with them jumping forward, there was spoilers, but it got to the point where the Federation was no more because all these events that had led up to it. Because you're just taking one starship with one crew and you're just pointing them, you're taking them forward. So everything else has gone along organically. So you're bringing them into, and they still have the mindset of the Federation was this big, and now you're bringing them forward to where the Federation is like basically minuscule, no more. It's like a skeleton crew in essence.
900 years.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
what they did.
So now, and to me, what it seems like it's kind of going forward is like it's reestablishing the Federation. It's like it's almost starting from scratch, if that makes any sense. It's like starting over.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're still bringing, because a lot of planets have left the Federation. And like, for instance, like, I think like Vulcan, because they were like right there in the very beginning, they had left. So now it's just trying to bring them back in. You had all these other planets. So it's almost like a reboot, but it's just of Starfleet and the Federation unto itself. So, I mean, that's kind of cool because then you can start from that point and move forward with a different story. So it's not like your typical time, jump in time, that kind of thing. It's just, you're just fast forwarding where it would have like eased on organically. If that makes any sense.
And I think that's actually the best way to do it is to have a large period of time in between the time jump, because then that gives you the opportunity to have a big space you can change things drastically, because over, what'd you say, 900 years? A lot of stuff can change over 900 years.
But you're not going back and forth. You're going there and you're staying. So it's not like
there.
they're going back. So that's the problem I have with it, is when you're going back and forth within timelines or time periods.
They introduced so much too with Discovery that made it even more interesting. The fact that when they did actually go 900 years in the future, a lot of things were very different. They came to a very different universe or galaxy, whichever, and it was like it worked out there. So for the Kelvin timeline to tell its story, and depending on how, if it's going to keep all the same crew, it's going to be interesting what they do. I mean, I'm really happy that Shackman's going to be doing it. I thought that he told a great story with WandaVision, so I'm really interested to see how we go from, was it Justin Lin that did the last one? Star Trek Beyond it kind of got like some mixed reviews, but I mean, the first one was so nostalgic and right up everyone's alley. The second one came out and like everyone really liked it. And then the third one was meh. And so like the fourth one really tapered off. So I'm interested to see what the fourth one, or the third one tapered off, the fourth one's going to be. I'm interested to see what they can do to really get people's focus back.
Well, hopefully, having like, people get more into like Discovery and Picard, that kind of thing. And hopefully that'll kind of drive it a little bit forward. But honestly, I'd rather stick to the television show. I mean, honestly, I do. I mean, because with Star Trek, you get burned so many times because you have like this, because they never really marketed it very well.
Right.
Because, I mean, had that, what was the anniversary? Lord, I can't remember what it was, but they had the ample opportunity to like really play it up. And it was just like, like a little blip on the screen or whatnot. So they just really haven't treated it very well. I mean, I don't know. It's still kind of like that little underlying thing.
We're going to get two of the same stories at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like if they bring it out in the movie, and then we're going to get Strange New Worlds. So like it's going to be interesting how that dynamic works.
But I just feel with Star Trek, it's just you're able to tell more story in like the television, because it's just there's more ability to develop.
It's always been more about their life. Like, I mean,
well,
like
even
what goes on the starship,
even the different type of alien races. I mean, it seems like every episode or whatnot, you would meet a different race. I mean, and that's not something that you would be able to do really in a movie. It's like you're like carving out this one little section of story, and that's what you're telling. But for me, it's always been like, oh, let's talk about just like, for instance, just for example, what I love about Discovery is you have seen the evolution of some of these species. It's like the Madam President. She's a Cardassian, but she does not look like a traditional Cardassian that you're used to seeing, like on DS9, because her ridges and everything are not as prominent, but it's still there. And even seeing like the Andorians, they're you can just see the evolution, and to me, that's really cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you said Kardashian, and I was like,
Kardashian.
I said, "There's a Kardashian in Star Trek." I'm like, I didn't know that. Wow, they've really.
Oh, bless.
I don't know. Like
I want them to bring Packlids. I want to see Packlids.
Oh my god.
those were the ones in the
Lower
anime
Decks.
we were watching
Yes.
that were the worrywarts, the pigs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were
They
they pigs?
multiplied.
Yeah. The one that like blew up all like themselves and everything else, and just yeah.
We added their ship to our ship. Our ship better.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to ask y'all were talking about Discovery a minute ago. Did y'all? Okay, so I watched the first episode of season, the latest season that came out. I haven't watched anything else of it, so I don't really know how it started out. Are you saying it started out with them jumping forward 900 years? Like this ship existed in the present timeline and they jumped forward? Or this is the entire universe jumped forward 900? This is just
No, it's just
900 years
them.
later?
It's just their
Okay,
ship.
gotcha.
Their ship jumped forward.
Okay.
So
so
she
they
jumped
actually
forward
traveled through
separately,
time.
and then the ship came with her.
Mhm.
Okay. They actually traveled
Yeah.
through time. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Because I mean, honestly, like the last season with the way that they like this, I think it was a 2-part finale. The 2-part finale was really good.
Mhm.
All the visuals, like what I really love about the Kelvin timeline is seeing the bridge of the Enterprise, like all of the stuff that they incorporated into the feeling of the ship was phenomenal. And then watching Discovery, all of the scenes that they have outside, in space with the ships, all of that has been really good. Like Discovery doesn't really lack on much of anything. The characters look phenomenal. The story's pretty solid. The ships look good. I mean, I'm not a fan of like how Discovery actually.
How about the nacelles where they're like really not attached to the ship? I mean, that doesn't make
still drives me crazy.
Yeah, I'm like that. Just
but then you got
Booker
book ship, and you're just like,
like
physics doesn't exist.
Yeah, figure it out.
But it's
just go with it. Just go with it.
Yeah, like you said, you start to poke holes in any of these stories. Some of the stuff you watch, you're going to get disappointed.
But it is 900 years into the future, so I will let that pass.
Yeah, you can't argue technology changes.
Yeah, I'll let that one pass because
even though in Star Wars,
programmable matter, like when they were just like, boom, that exists. Now we can do anything. That's a real big thing for that Discovery show. And like now that they have that, it's like like Marvel nanotech and like all that kind of stuff. So
it's like a 3D printer for anything, right?
Like
in essence, yeah.
Whatever your hands want to make,
nice.
Boom, there it is.
Nice. I do want to mention that though. Have you ever noticed in Star Wars, like seems to be no progression of technology at all? Like you can go back 5,000 years in the story and they're still using the same weapons. Like it's crazy. I'm like, wow. So I guess these are just the best weapons ever got, and they just had blasters and lightsabers and all that kind of stuff, just forever. Vibra sticks and all that stuff, just always been around.
Unless you're Gideon, and he will come out and tell you the history of every single weapon as he's getting ready to set it up and use it on your ass.
Exactly.
I don't know. I just found that weird. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, man, they never seem to progress. And it is weird, too. It's just like in Star Wars, how they can have brand new binoculars, but there's always like a messed up picture when they're looking through it. Like,
yeah, it's never clear. It's like always scratchy.
Yeah. I'm like, why is the picture they're looking through the binoculars always messed up? Always. But, hey,
4K kills batteries, man. We don't have those. Batteries don't exist anymore.
Broken holes. Don't do that. All right. Anything else? News?
Let's see. Last week I said that. The Halo show did get renewed. We now know that they are going to do a Master Chief face reveal during season 1. So I didn't know if that was going to be big news or not, but Yeah,
Be like
I threw it in there
Mando
for you. I didn't think you were
Mason
going to
deal.
enjoy it, so we'll see.
I get why.
Yeah.
Because if they're trying to, depending on the story, depending on the character, they want to be a standalone character. Because honestly, Master Chief, you are Master Chief within a video game. I mean, that is your character. That's your point of view. So I mean, I get it, but it's just gonna be weird. It's just gonna be weird.
For a show, you have to have it. You got to have something
I
that
know.
gives you the story. So
Is Master Chief the one in charge, or is that just his name?
I think he's like
He's-
the.
Or is that like his rank? That's his rank as Master Chief.
Yeah, I think
guess?
so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. It's called that because it was badass or what, but
let's see. Greg, you mentioned the Watts Disney Plus show for Star Wars. Still kind of a rumor.
Haven't heard anything else about it. Yeah.
And then since we are on, you're going to be doing Batman night. Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother, is apparently doing the Fallout project, which I had no idea. I wasn't even paying attention to it. But apparently they had a cast. So the Fallout game is also going to get a live action treatment. So that was, I like Walter Goggins. That's who they actually cast. And the casting was cool. I know barely anything about Fallout. Once again, another game coming to live action. So
Fallout. What?
Yeah.
Oh, Nate. See, this is the stuff. This is the games that Brian plays.
Oh,
So I'll have to ask him about the Fallout because 100% when I get off of here, he's gonna be like, "Did you see this?" Yes, honey, I saw that.
I guess 2 years ago they had mentioned it, and it just kind of it's been moving at a snail's pace. They have the showrunners, they have the directors, they have their first cast member, but beyond that, I don't know anything.
I don't know anything. I mean, I've played Fallout before, but I don't retain any knowledge from it. It's nothing I've never bought the game before. I'm a sports gamer, so it'll be interesting to see when it comes out. I have no reference to anything in it. I'd imagine it's going to be a horror type apocalyptic.
By the sounds of it, it's going to have some sort of I mean, it's definitely going to be apocalyptic. It has to be.
Oh yeah, I mean, Ron's gonna love that because, like I said, I don't even know what version of Fallout he's played. I just remember now I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I remember the dog.
I feel like if you played one, you played them all.
He says there's varying degrees. He says some are better than others. So, but that's just the kind of games that he likes. So.
Yeah, but that's really it. I mean, it's been a lot of rumor stuff this week, so try to stay away from too many rumors.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that I have is just kind of rumorish. I spoke with you about the Obi-Wan stuff beforehand, but I don't know how true any of this stuff is. And then, the Gore the God Butcher's Necro Sword being released, the visual of it. You'd mentioned the Lego stuff before, and looking at the picture of it, it's funny how they make. I guess it's clickbait, of course. They make a big deal about how the image is released of this, and you look at it, and it's a Lego figurine. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's going to look something like that, because I mean, it's obviously going to be, but it looks like just a black sword. So, okay.
Well, they did the ship also. I don't know if you saw the ship.
I did not.
They actually had. So that was the other one that was the first one that I saw drop, and it was you had Thor, Jane, the two like goats that pull the ship or whatever it is. I can't even remember their names right now. Two other characters, I think. But really, it was just showing you part of which I've seen concept art for, but I don't know what it's going to look like when it hits. Now that I've seen the concept art and the Lego, like they're pretty close to each other. So I'm interested. Like, I don't know what's going to. I assume that Strange is going to be the pinnacle of Marvel this year. But I'm a Ragnarok supporter, so I don't know. Sorry.
No, Ragnarok was an okay movie. It's just not my version of Thor, but I get it. I mean, I'm looking at the pictures of these, and there are pictures from the comics, and it's funny because I guess there's just different depictions. Looks like it's a fixed blade on his arm. One of these pictures, which looks like a past picture. But it's gonna be a black sword. It kind of reminds me of the dark saber right now, or maybe like a black Excalibur. But once again, the only thing I'm really seeing is concept art and the Lego version. So we'll see what happens. That's all I really got. That's really worth talking about. Everything else is just kind of rumors. So, have y'all watched anything interesting this week?
Mm-mm.
No, nothing at
Still
all.
basking in the glory of Peacemaker.
So yeah, she did. She did watch something interesting
You
this
did.
week.
Then you watched something interesting this week. Yeah, I watched the not the Peacemaker movie, the Reacher movie. I'm trying to think. Oh, me and my wife started a funny show. Bless This Mess, I think is the name of it. Dak Shepard show. Pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
Two people from New
I've
York
heard
moved to
about it.
farm. It's pretty funny. Other than that, I really haven't been watching anything. I've been nothing.
I am still. Let's see. I watched the newest episode. I did not make it to Discovery this week. I did watch the newest episode of Raised by Wolves. It's still pretty good. Once again, like I said, wasn't a fan of the first season. Second season's doing pretty well from my taste. And I'm a F1 geek, so I watched Netflix's. I finally finished Drive to Survive on Netflix. I've always loved racing. F1 is clearly like the creme de la creme of racing. So, great little series to watch. Plus, the season starts in like 2 weekends. So,
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's nothing else that I've actually been actively involved in watching new, other than the Pam and Tommy, which I need to catch up on because I guess I didn't watch last week's 3 episodes, but that's something else to check out. Yeah, it's funny.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
Discovery. I haven't seen the most recent one. I'll probably watch that this weekend. I normally, if I don't think about it, I usually wait till the weekend. Like I said, I've been traveling, so I'm just freaking tired, dude.
I hear you.
I need a
Life gets us.
vacation.
We're adults. We have jobs. We have families. We have kids. Yeah.
That's why I wait for the weekend to kind of try to catch up on everything. So that's why,
I'm really interested. I want to watch that Viking show, but I actually did not even see if they dropped the whole thing or not. So, I have heard good things. Like you could jump into it without like watching all of the other seasons of the other show. So,
So this is a show based off another show.
it is the next story. I think it's a 100-year jump, and it tells like the Leif Erikson story, or however you truly say his name. But man, I still haven't watched Ozark. We got the date drop for the second part. I know,
Buddy, you gotta watch it.
I know.
You gotta watch it, man. It's so good. Sorry.
We get the next part at the end of April.
I didn't know that they were doing that like that, and I was
Everyone's
thoroughly
doing it, dude.
pissed.
Yeah,
Thoroughly
that's
pissed
why-
whenever it got to it, and it was like part 2 coming. I was like, what?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I may like background binge the show, like put it on TV while I'm doing stuff, watch the whole show over again, and
It'd be
then
worth
wait for April and watch the 4th season like all in one piece.
I mean, it'll probably take you till April to do that.
With everything else I got.
Long episodes. Yeah.
Space Force. I want to watch that. You said you weren't that big on it, but
I got to get back in that one. I did watch like the first.
Is there a
one.
second season?
yeah, second season came out last Friday.
It is
okay. I mean, I'll
entertaining.
give it a chance. I didn't
entertaining.
dislike it. Yeah, I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't. I mean, for me, he's always going to be Michael Scott.
Yeah, you got to detach
I
that.
can't help it. Yeah, I do got to detach that. I just can't help it. But it was still good.
You gotta watch the morning show, man. You gotta.
I do. I gotta get Apple TV first. I know.
And you got to watch Foundation. That's on Apple TV as well.
Yes.
I almost started Euphoria the day me and my wife were looking for something new to watch, and this is whenever we turn on Reacher, and I was like, we should watch Euphoria because it's been recommended by a few people, and it got vetoed for Check Reacher. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna try to get that one too because Cody says it's really good, and I've heard good things about it, and Zendaya's in it, so why not? I haven't seen her something bad yet.
Next week, Picard,
Nice.
No shit.
the third,
Third season.
I still
second
forget.
season, but it comes out on the 3rd.
So I
still
may
forget
have
it's
time to
22.
catch up on the first season.
And it's almost
then
March. I'm like, oh my
On the 4th, that animated boys show comes out.
Mm.
That'll be interesting.
Have you guys? Well, no, I don't think I've asked you. Have you guys watched The Last Kingdom on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
I don't
It's
know.
another,
I don't
like,
think so.
Viking era style show. It came out like a long time ago. It's getting another season. I thought that shit was dead. I thought they got Netflixed, but it's still
Is that what they're calling it now?
That's what I'm calling it.
It's actually a good idea. I like that. Netflix. We should coin that.
Got it.
I don't know if I've seen that or
Cha-ching.
not. I may have seen that. My wife loves stuff from that time period. So if it's on Netflix and it's from that time period, I've probably seen it. But I couldn't
It's
tell you.
good. No, it's a good watch. Like if you need something, it's not as heavy, and the seasons are definitely a lot shorter than Vikings was. But now you got each one to choose from. So if by some chance you watch Vikings and it's good, you can steamroll right into the Last Kingdom, and you have four seasons because I think the fifth one is the one that's coming out.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
If I'm flipping around stuff to check out, I'm sure the algorithm will send it my way at some point in time. It always does. It usually picks for me. So, all right. Well, any other news? Y'all want to move the book or turn the clock to the right time, or however you want to step into the Batcave, open up the door, and
Throw up the signal.
yeah. Should we
Flip
do
up the statue head and hit the button.
Yeah. Should we do stairs or an elevator to get down? I don't know. Either one works. I'm gonna take the stairs. Hop in the elevator. So. All right. Let's
Fireman
go
pole.
to Batcave, man.
That's the same one as fireman pole.
You know what? I didn't include in this list of stuff, and we should. We can think about it. Favorite Batcave. Ranking Batcaves, because there's a lot of really cool things about different Batcaves. So, but we are celebrating Batman, which I have no problem doing anytime. Absolutely fucking love Batman. But the new Batman movie does come out next week. I'm going to see it on Tuesday, and I'm so excited for it. I just realized the other day too that I'm off on Tuesday, so I'm off all day, and then I get to see the movie at 7:00. There will be a short non-spoiler review when I get out because I'm sure I'm going to be really excited to talk about it. But I guess the premieres Thursday night is when most people will get to see it. I don't know if y'all will get to see it for us to talk about next week, but if not, we're going to talk about it as soon as it gets seen. But we wanted to pay tribute to Batman, everything that's come Batman beforehand, or not everything, but just live action movies, basically from Batman '89 on. So kind of excluded a few things, but that made it a little easier, shorten some things up. So I think they have the list here. I guess we're just going to go through.
3-hour movie.
Huh? Yeah. I didn't realize
Crazy.
until today that it was going to be when I was reading an article about it that it was going to be a 3-hour movie. Which once again I don't have a problem with. If it's good content, it doesn't bother me. But we're going to talk about Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League. And all these will be included in here. And we're going to talk about our favorite actors, our favorite movies, our favorite scenes, favorite Batmobiles, favorite suits, all that good stuff. So let's get it started. And I think we should start out with just the overall big list and just do a list of all those movies' rankings. So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 movies. So I guess start from the bottom of your least favorite of all these movies. And Sarah, I'll start with you. Of all those movies, it's tough to say least favorite because I do like them all. Which one would you want to watch the least if you had to?
Batman Returns.
Really?
Penguin just grosses me out. Now I love Pfeiffer. I love her Catwoman. Catwoman, that's but that just kills it for me. It just kills it for me because, matter of fact, my dad took me to see that movie, and I just remember looking at it going, it's just even now I can't even tell you the last time I watched it. Really? So it's just right off the bat. That's just like my knee-jerk reaction. Just I was never a fan of Batman Returns.
What you, Ross?
I did this list a few times over again, but I just basically sat with Batman and Robin. I mean, I like nostalgia-wise, the Schumacher ones are there for me, but they don't hold as much nostalgia as like the other ones. Batman and Robin, like I said before on the show, like you were with me on one of my birthdays. We went to go see it when it came out, and I don't know.
Oh no, that was that was the one before that. And which one? Smashing Pumpkins was on the soundtrack.
Batman and Robin.
Okay,
that was that one.
Oh gosh, how terrible was that soundtrack?
I didn't hate the movie, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, man, like Poison Ivy was a little
chill. Come on.
Take 2 of these. Call me in the morning.
No,
I'm gonna have some hot takes for you fellas.
Ross, I'm right there with you, man. That's the bottom of my list too. 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie, I think this movie thoroughly, like, if there was already a knife in the Batman franchise from what was coming out in the last couple of years, this one was the one that wrenched it and turned it and stopped the heart from beating. It's Batman, so if it's on, I'll watch it. But it's not one that I'm going to turn on anymore.
Yeah.
Myself. So, all right, Sarah, what's your next one?
I'd probably have to go with like I said, Batman and Robin.
Okay.
I'd have to go with that one. But the Schumacher movies. I enjoyed them because it's kind of like the way I describe it. It's like, to me, they felt like more comic book. Now, I'm not saying graphic novel. I'm saying like comic book. Something that's like bright. That's, I don't want to say kid friendly, but it was like more of a kiddish. It was like not really real.
A little
it was
Dr.
just
Seussy, right?
Yeah, kind of like that. But like I said, it's like that bright comic type thing, which I know Batman's more of like a graphic novel, dark and that kind of thing. But it was just, but they were, to me, they're always fun to watch, even though some of it just didn't make any damn sense. It's just like the colors, but it was, I think it's just a victim of the time, when it came out, because that was, like all these neon colors and everybody glow sticks and shit. It was just, of that time. But I still enjoyed them though, and that's what I'm saying. It was just kind of, but I have to rank them. I was like, because like the nipple suits, that just,
Oh yeah,
that kind
That's like one of my favorite lines from that Fanboys movie. It's the stupidest thing I heard since Schumacher put nips on Batman.
exactly.
It's a great movie too, by the way. All right, Ross, next one.
I did Forever, sticking with the same thing. I do believe that the Schumacher movies did a good job trying to give you that comic booky feel. They didn't feel like they were, there were specific sets. It's very specific. You had the, Enigma's Island. You had at the very beginning of Forever was when they had that safe, and they're just, his sucker falls right back into the rails right off the bat at the beginning of that movie. I really kept these low because of the Batman performance.
Right.
I wasn't swept away by
Kilmer.
Clooney or Kilmer. I just think that what they did was show up with their name. And I think Kilmer clearly tried harder, but I wasn't a fan. So,
Ross, we are of like mind, sir. I totally agree with you on both of these takes. Both of these movies in their place, and I agree with you on all the takes you had on that. There are some good parts about this movie, though. This one was not as bad as Batman and Robin, because there are still some things about this movie that I, to this day, will go back and like defend. Which, hey, today's today. I'll be doing that. So, but yeah, for me, it's number 8. But all right, number 7, Sarah.
I'll have to say Batman Forever. It's like I'm with you guys. It's just, you just don't know how viscerally I did not like Batman Returns.
Ross?
well, here's where we don't become friends anymore. Justice League.
Okay.
I don't feel like I got as much Batman as I wanted. And here's the thing. I am all for his version of Batman. I liked the stuff, but to me, Justice League was the beginning ascension of a story that they really should have kept going with. Nothing else. Like, I'm not going to keep harping on it. Justice League.
I understand. No, you're good, man. I get it. Hey, okay, number 7 for me. This is, like I said, we're gonna have some differing opinions. The Batman, 89. Like the movie, but of all the Batman movies, it's the one that like I remember the least about, and I've probably seen the fewest times because I was born in '84. So I was very young when this movie came out. Yes, I watched it as a child, but really, truly, the Nolan verse is more of my adult viewing of Batman. And since those versions of Batman came out, a lot has changed in the Batman universe. So for me, it's just the original Batman movie. It's a great movie. It's just you got to rank them. So number 7 for me. Number 6, Sarah.
Dark Knight Rises.
Hmm.
I was not a fan of Anne Hathaway's Selena Kyle / Catwoman.
Thank you.
I was not a real big fan of Tom Hardy's Bane.
I liked that.
No, the thing about Bane, and I will say,
Watch his force.
was it Batman Forever? Oh no, Batman and Robin is
Batman
where you
Robin
had Bane.
Had the Bane.
To me, that was more Bane.
I get that
because that I don't know. It just kind of it threw me off. And
in this one, Bane was just a guy who was a badass, basically.
Yeah, and then you had that weird voice. I'm just like, it was just off-putting.
Okay. Ross?
Dark Knight Rises.
I'm imagining for a lot of the same reasons.
Yeah, I really liked the one that came before it. I really did. And when they came out with this one, I was like, "Oh, you are sticking with a trilogy like trope of like the second one was, and that third one just fell straight on its face for me. There were just things like I didn't like ways that they were trying to get the story across. So, not a fan.
I agree. Trifecta. I'm right there with you guys. Dark Knight Rises. I liked Bane. I did not like Anne Hathaway. I love Gordon Levitt in anything he's in, and I feel like if you're going to put that character in a movie, you give him a bigger role. And I absolutely fucking hated at the end how he's like his given name is like, "What's your name?" He's like Robin, because Robin's name is not fucking Robin. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so mad.
No, you need to use your middle name. That's nicer, or whatever
they did that for general audience fans, and I was like, oh, that is so irritating. Why would you do that?
Yes, just keep going.
Yeah. But this one for me, same thing. Number 5, Sarah.
I'll say Justice League, because I mean I'm kind of like with Ross too, because I mean it was great seeing Batman, but like I said, it wasn't a Batman movie. You know what I mean? It was a great team up because it's Justice League, and we're talking about the Zack Snyder cut because the other one does not exist.
Yeah, that's why we didn't include it in this list.
Yeah, so I mean, but I mean, it was still a cool movie. It was still awesome to see Affleck, because I'll get to that later. But yeah, I mean, as far as like a true Batman movie, yeah, it's going to be a little further down the list.
Okay. Ross?
I have Batman Returns. The old movies definitely hold a place for me. They were the first Batmans that I saw. So I do remember being completely freaked out by the Penguin. I'd never thought that I would like Dan DeVito or anything else. Thank God It's Always Sunny came out.
There you go.
Here's the thing, like there's that scene in It's Always Sunny where they're doing the play for Nightman, where he's the troll toll, to get into the boy's hole. I never like that scene where he has the nose and everything else. I'm like, fucking Penguin vibes. Penguin, ugh, no.
Yeah.
I know, and it creepy. It's like, It's so cringy.
But at the same time, I was really a fan of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman and her arc in that movie, where she went from it was the Enigma arc all over again in Batman Forever. A peon who no one knew existed to turn around, and except it was done well, and I liked it. The suit was crazy. The Catwoman movie that came out after with Halle Berry, sorry. Ugh. But to me, it's more, it gets more nostalgia points, I think, is really where it comes down to. And you get to see the Batmobile go full armor. There's just things in that movie that just hold on.
Mm-hmm. I agree. For me, it's actually surprisingly enough Justice League. And it's for the same reasons you guys are. I love that movie, but it's just not enough Batman in that movie for it to be like high on my Batman rankings. Love the movie, just can't put it up there. Same reasons. Nothing wrong with the movie at all. All right, number 4. I think we all have the same 4, just probably in a different order for the top 4 movies. It's pretty simple. But number 4, Sarah.
Batman Begins,
Mm.
because it was. I mean, it's a cool movie. Don't get me wrong, but it's just with my ranking, there are others that I like more so.
Mm.
I mean, I like the introduction of Bale as Batman. His Bruce Wayne, that kind of thing too, because I have to think. I look at Bruce Wayne and Batman kind of, in tandem, obviously, even though they seem like they're two separate characters. But I don't know. I just didn't really have. I mean, I enjoyed that one, but I just didn't have that much pull to it. It wasn't until a little bit later that I really started getting into that. But just the whole, like with Bale and his, that kind of, his voice just kind of, I don't know.
Swear to me.
I know, right? It was just.
This is my bedroom voice.
I mean, because a lot of this listing to me is just like just gut feelings I have for each movie. I mean,
right?
Because I could watch every single one of them over and over again. I mean, 100%. But there's just
I don't know
some
about
that
over and over for some of the Schumacher ones, but I could watch them again if I had to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those are the ones that like Ross does. You just put it in the background. But some of these other ones, it's like, okay, I want to be front and center. I want to pay attention to this.
What about you, Ross? Number 4.
I went Batman vs Superman. I like, once again, what Ben Affleck brings to the table. I think that I was less inclined to really like the fact. I know that the story's there. It's got legs. It's comic book, everything else. But at the same time, I was not a fan of what they had. That's just me. The movie itself is not bad by any means. I like it. I don't like the Martha part. That's whatever. I mean, you and I have had multiple discussions, Greg, about this movie. You love the movie, and I don't want to take anything away from it. But the other ones, to me, once again, just hold a higher spot.
Yeah, I get that, man. Because I mean, everything else we're talking about is like the creme de la creme of Batman, like the best of the best, the top 4. This top 4 was difficult. Actually, the top 4 wasn't. The 1 and 2 were easy. 3 and 4 were a little more difficult for me, trying to figure out which one. I basically had to boil it down to, if I can turn one of them on right now, which one am I going to turn on? So the one that I would have turned on fell to 3. This one fell to 4 is Batman Returns. I love that movie. I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. There will not be a better one. I mean, I'm not trying to say Zoe Kravitz can't do a good job. And well, okay, there's a chance there could be a better one. But for me, at least, there's one thing that has to happen, and it just depends on what the suit looks like. Because for me, for Michelle Pfeiffer, that was what it did. It wasn't just about the suit being a sexy leather suit. Granted, I was a child or young boy when this happened, so obviously I like Michelle Pfeiffer's gorgeous. So obviously, yes, that factors in. But it's not just that. It's the suit looks like a Catwoman suit. Everything else we've got since then looks like a Black Canary suit or just some kind of crazy, not Catwoman. And I don't want it. Give me a damn Jim Lee Catwoman suit, and I'm sold. And I'm sold. Ears in the, I'm sold. I'm good. And I think Zoe Kravitz's going to do a good job, but we're going to see what it looks like. Did not like Anne Hathaway's, did not like Halle Berry's, but yeah, Batman Returns. And just, Ross, I'm the same way with you, man. Danny DeVito creeped me out about it when I was a kid, but then Twins pulled me back, so I was able to love him again, So, him and Arnold. All right, number 3.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one that got me. That's right. Well, I can love this guy again.
Okay, my number 3 is Batman v Superman, because that was our introduction to Affleck. I loved it. I love his Bruce Wayne too. I love his Batman, but I love his Bruce Wayne too.
Yeah.
Because I feel it. I'm just like, I can see this. I mean, he's not nothing against Christian Bale, but I mean, he plays like the pretty boy, like the flam, that kind of thing. I get that part, but to me, just Affleck is just that meat and potato. It's kind of like, I get this. You have money, and you can pull this shit off. I 100% believe. 100%.
Sold.
Yes, absolutely. And then plus the Batman and the Superman interaction. I mean, that was just freaking gold. It was just gold. And I mean, I think we've had conversations with that because I've had conversations with Greg and Nathan about this as well back in the day.
I can't agree. I can't disagree with any of the great things you just said about that movie. So, wow. But you, Ross, number 3.
89 Batman.
Oh, okay.
It was the first. It's once again my introduction to Batman. Keaton, dude. I mean, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
I love Nicholson. I don't like the perma face, but the movie itself, the balloon scene, not the balloon scene, but the floats,
The kill count.
seeing
Gracious.
seeing the Batwing, the
Yeah.
cheesy move up in the moon. I mean, all that stuff was me as a kid, just to be like, yes, yes, yes.
That was a call
So,
to kids right there. That
yeah.
was a cool scene. I'll give you that. That is a great movie. Like I said, it just I don't know why, man. Just for some reason, going back to that movie, it's just not one that I always want to turn back on. But I get it, man. It that's a lot of people's favorite. And Keaton did do a great job as Batman. And he's been flexing his Batman muscle online.
Whole life has he been flexing it.
He's flexing it hardcore now. So be interested to see. We're going to see him again in the cowl. It's cool. Number 3 for me is Batman Begins. Great movie. And this is, once again, I was debating between this and Batman Returns. I really enjoy the depth they go into with the origin story of this movie. There are just certain things about this movie that are kind of crazy. Like, you don't see Batman until like 45, 50 minutes into the movie, which is crazy. But it was a great introduction to an awesome trilogy about Batman and taking Batman to another level. It made him more interesting to general audience and people that weren't comic book fans. It showed that superheroes can be taken seriously on screen, I felt. It really changed the game up. So, Batman Begins. Number 2, Sarah.
Dark Knight. Obviously, my number 1 is. Anyways, when you finally because you get Batman Begins, you get that's a great one. And then when you get to the Dark Knight, and then Ledger was just blew it away because that Batman and Joker dichotomy was just insane. It's like, you basically can't have one without the other. And to me, that makes you understand why, Batman has never killed Joker, because, it's that relationship that they have was basically keeping each other going. And it was just awesome. And to this day, the pencil trick still is the cringiest shit.
Tough to watch.
So good.
Yes, it's just
that sold me on him as Joker. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay.
But then his he never really gave like a Joker origin. It was always there was a couple of different scenes where it was like a couple of different stories, so you never really got. So you just had this enigma of the Joker. So it was like. I think one of my other favorite parts was like the I think it was improvised of where the blew the building, because he was walking back, in the nurse, and he like hit the detonator and didn't do anything. It wouldn't go off.
Yeah.
And then it finally did, and that was like a fantastic scene too. And then also Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face, Harvey Dent. That was amazing, because you see Harvey Dent as his self, and then when he is basically, created Two-Face. That was, and in that hospital scene, when you first see his face, you're just like, whoa.
That's a great scene too.
That CGI was just insane. So, it's, and that's one that I'm sure a lot of people would say I could just watch it over and over again. And you still pick out things out of that movie.
I love the Joker in the hospital. I love that part.
Great. As a nurse. Oh my God.
Hi.
What about you, Ross? What's number 2?
Number 2 is Batman Begins. Once again, origin story. Yeah, I love a good origin story. I am a sucker. I wanted that from Batman for a very long time. I thought that I was robbed of that with Affleck, only because they jumped right into things that existed, which is cool. But I really wanted to see him become Batman. Not like I didn't need the lengthy training montage, but what I wanted was more depth to that character, because the dude is young and could tell so many stories as Batman. He could have done this for as long as his body would have let him, pump iron in makeshift CrossFit gyms that he has in his Batcave. I would have been happy with it, but what I got with Bale was more along the lines of what I wanted. The downside is that Bale seems like the normal man, whereas Affleck seems like the superhero.
Right.
What I did love was the practicality that they brought with it. I thought that, to me, if you can relate things to the real world and tell a story about Batman who has no superpowers, phenomenal. I want to see the craziness. He is tech. He is, the does it come in black line? I mean, like all of those things, like I love the story. I hated what's her face, who got replaced by Maggie
Oh, he's talking
Gyllenhaal.
about yeah.
I didn't like her. She really took away a lot from the movie for me.
Mhm.
I've never liked much of anything that she's ever made. And she married Tom Cruise, so
Yeah.
that says a lot about a
Katie,
person's personality. Katie
Katie,
Holmes. There you go.
yes.
Katie Holmes. Yeah, that's it.
Beyond that, I thought that the way that they did Scarecrow was really well.
Mhm.
It was very simple. It wasn't over the top. I liked having Gary Oldman was the commissioner. Worked out pretty well for me. It wasn't too much. It was a very low key story. Like nothing in this movie felt like it was over the top, but it all felt real and planted in a real universe, and I loved that about it. And it really got me back on board with a different take. So,
All very, very valid points, man. I totally get that. It's a great movie. For me, it is Dark Knight. Phenomenal movie. Heath Ledger, everything Sarah said about it. Heath Ledger, Aaron Eckhart, great, great roles in this movie. Both played great villains. I almost wish they both would have gotten their own due in their own movie. But this movie was so long, it almost felt like two movies. Like by the time you get to the third act, you've already almost finished a movie. It's kind of crazy. It's a very long movie, but it's a great movie, and I've watched it from beginning to end a lot of different times. A lot of great things they introduced in this series, and I do. We didn't get an origin of the Joker, but what we did get was an origin of the Joker and Batman,
Mm-hmm.
which is something you'd never. It's always just been the Joker's been there. I mean, I guess. Well, no, it's not. I guess it's not true. I guess you got an origin of Joker altogether in '89. So I guess I don't really think about that movie as much. But I don't know. You got the origin of Joker and Batman, and I think they did that really well, especially tying it into the way they ended the first movie. I appreciated that, and we may have gotten Joker in the third movie, but you never know. So, all right, number one, Sarah, the last one left.
It's gonna be the OG. It's gonna be Batman '89.
Mm.
You fellas say, look, I was Gage's age, 11, when this movie came out.
I get that.
I have seen it so many times. Matter of fact, I turned it on not too long ago because it's kind of like where when you see Christopher Reeve's first Superman movie, but then again, if you compare it to like Man of Steel, it's like they're both of them are fantastic, but they still have their separate feels to them.
Mhm.
So that's why with Batman '89, it's just like I said, it's the OG. That's where really, for me, that's where Batman was solidified.
Mhm.
It was just like, oh my, and I love Nicholson's Joker. I mean, even to this day, I'm just like, he was sadistic. He was just methodical. I mean, it was just, but then he was just super silly too.
Mhm.
So it was just kind of, because I'd kind of grown up a little bit watching like the old Batman series with Adam West and, was it the '65 Batman, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So finally, that's what I was used to seeing. And then when you have this, it's like, it's dark, it's gritty. It's just, you're like, oh shit, this is the real deal right here.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't care he could turn his head. That didn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, the only drawback, I did not like Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale. I did not like her at all. Usually whenever you have like chicks in movies, I'm like, now other than Catwoman. But that's about the only time I'll be like, okay, maybe I'll let that one go. But for the most part, it was I don't, and that's just one that's just solidified. It's the damn OG, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
I get it. What about you, Ross? Number one.
Dark Knight. That movie is one of my favorite movies. Um, I liked what they did with Batman, trying to make sure that they, once again, like you said, Keaton couldn't turn his head. They make that point in Dark Knight. It's understandable. I thought it was a little too on the nose, but at the same time, what they did with the bat suit was really cool. Just because it was tactical, and a lot of people didn't like that. I loved it. Um,
It's more practical for his use, to be honest with you.
yeah, I mean, we've said plenty of things about Joker, and like, it's not a. This movie gets number one because of the story that it tells, and the Joker to me worked out with the Batman of Nolan's storytelling. Heath Ledger's Joker worked out hand in hand perfect because you needed a psychotic terrorist to be Joker, and you needed him to find a way to be the Joker at the same time. And as much as he wasn't really laughing, everything that he did made you so like cringy, uncomfortable. And then you watch him, just burning cash, fuck the mob. Eckhart, I really, really liked him when he became Two-Face. I began to like him a little less. I wasn't crazy about the face that they gave him, but at the same time, like, I don't know another option that would have been better. So, I mean, I got nothing to say. But when he went full on crazy, they killed my fiance and blah, blah, blah. And, the whole love triangle between Bruce and, he can never know. Those things were the only things I could pick apart of that movie. Everything else in that movie I thought was phenomenal. And like, I'm a fan. Like, the dude's crazy. I thought that the story that they told for Batman and they made the reasons, like Sarah had already pointed out, you need the yin and the yang. I would have killed the motherfucker. Excuse me. But
Yeah.
I would have straight up killed him and been done. Like, you're not going to escape Arkham. Like, we're done. But at the same time, the movie was just so good for me. So we've hit so many points on it. I don't want to keep harping on it.
Oh no, you're good. I mean, you're like I said, you're 100% right. You could talk about this movie all day. We should review this movie sometime. It's so good because I know that I'm gonna want to watch it again after talking about this. Looking at all this Batman stuff today has made me so hyped up about everything Batman. But yeah, number one for me, it's clear if you've listened to anything that's on the show and you know me for any little bit of time, it's BVS Ultimate Edition, which is the only edition. I don't even say that BVS Ultimate Edition. This movie blew me away. I was so psyched for it when it came out. I love Ben Affleck as Batman. Zack Snyder's my favorite director. It's based off my favorite comic book, or loosely based off my favorite comic book. Like, it's just everything about it just hit every point for me. It does have certain things in it that are flawed, and just like any movie does, there's no perfect movie. But I've probably seen this movie more than I've seen any other movie. It's not just my favorite Batman movie; it's my favorite movie of all time. I just love it, man. It's so good. I will never turn down, like, if I have nothing to watch, turning it on. In fact, I go back to it all the time, and I will never turn it off if it comes on TV. It's like Forrest Gump for me. If I'm going through stuff and it's Forrest Gump's on, I'm not changing it. Oh, that'd be so bad if Forrest Gump and BVS were on at the same time. I'd have to make a choice.
Oh, choices.
Yeah.
Get the other TV, bring it in.
There you go. I got dual screens in the computer room, so there you go. But yeah, number one for me, BVS. So there it is. Of the 9 live action, mainly Batman movies, I guess the only one in there that wasn't just a Batman movie was Justice League. There's our rankings for them. But I think we can all agree we love them all. So now that we've done movies, let's go over Batman actors. And I'm keeping Adam West out of this because, like I said, we're just kind of going from the 89 Batman on. So it's going to be Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney, Bale, Affleck. And I didn't put Pattinson in here either because I haven't seen him yet. So
Yeah, really can't judge him yet. So
right. All right. So what do you think? Who's your least favorite Batman? And I feel like this is going to almost reflect our list are going to be very similar. So Ross, I'll start with you on this one, man. Least favorite Batman? I think I ever did.
I mean, Clooney I
100%.
as much as I want to enjoy Clooney, that whole movie just took me out of it. I didn't feel like he was Batman.
Yep. There we go. I'm right there with you, man. Clooney. Like you said, he kind of phoned it in. He didn't feel like Bruce Wayne. He got that part because he was a big name at the time. That
Yep.
was all there was to it. Just a big name at the time. So, Sarah?
I'm gonna disagree with you, fellas. I say
Oh,
Kilmer
okay.
because I like Clooney as Bruce Wayne. But
Okay.
now, I mean, but to me, there
Could have been old man Bruce Wayne so well.
But the thing about it is, like, I feel like Clooney and Kilmer are kind of on the same level because I mean, I really wasn't impressed with either one, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that's kind of just a flip a coin. I just kind of go to which was the Bruce Wayne I like better.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Number 3 or 4. I guess there's 5 actors. Yeah. Ross.
Kilmer, I did not. I thought Kilmer was very soft. I liked that he had more of a role in both parts. I didn't like him smiling, when What's Her Nuts chose Bruce Wayne over Batman.
Yeah.
When he turned around, he's like,
Jumped off the
like,
building. Yeah.
no. So Kilmer.
I'm right there with you. Same thing. Kilmer. This is a point in time where I guess what was it, Ghost in the Darkness that Kilmer was in? I thought that movie was so phenomenal. I was like, oh man, this is great. And I was like, I thought Val Kilmer was a great actor, but it just when I was younger, I liked it a little more than I do now. Now that I go back and look at it, it just doesn't work for me, Bruce Wayne or Batman. So just a bad choice.
Brucey, baby. Come on
Yeah.
down.
What about number 3, Sarah?
Well, from popping up to number 3, I'd say Keaton.
Yeah.
It's just because, like I said, I mean, he's the OG, but I just feel like there's.
Wait, did I get your number 4?
Oh, 4 was Clooney. 4 was Clooney. So we can just.
Okay.
I think we both agree it's either going to be
those are the
Clooney
2
or
worst.
Kilmer. It just
Okay.
depends on if one's 4 or if one's 5. That's how it goes.
There you go. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip you there, but okay, go ahead.
fine.
Number 3. You said
Yeah.
Keaton?
I say Keaton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you too. Don't think he's a bad Batman. Just of all the actors on there, he's number 3 for me. Ross?
Keaton.
We've all
I
agreed.
think that he's phenomenal. Like, I mean,
He's
it's,
OG.
it's tough. It's a tough role.
So the top 2, I think, are going to be most people's favorites. There are a lot of Keaton fans, so I know Keaton will be. We all know the top 3 will be everybody's top 3. I doubt anybody's going to say Clooney or Kilmer's better than any of these 3 guys. The top 2 is what's going to be interesting. See if it's different here. Ross, who's your number 2?
Bale.
Bale? Wow, that surprised me.
Hey, look, I love but here's the deal. It's the Nolan trilogy. Bale gets to star in it. At the same time, as much as I can nitpick, yes, the voice, yes, his size. I didn't like the fact that he shunned so hard away from being Bruce Wayne.
No.
So, all those different things.
Okay. Sarah, number 2?
I would have to agree with Ross. I would say Bale.
Bale.
And it's
all
kind
the
of
way.
it's kind of for the same reasons too. I mean, it was just he was great, and he was number 1 for a while. But sorry, he got knocked off his throne. That's just.
We are all in agreement here. I'm right there with y'all. Bale did a good job, but that leads to all number 1. Ben Affleck just fucking knocked it out of the park, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his Batman was just great. I mean, because I just believed his Batman, and more so than Bale's. I mean, I don't know, and maybe Bale because it was the tactical, and even for Affleck because I mean, he didn't really have that tactical of a suit, other than the armor suit. But his Bruce Wayne to me just absolutely sold it. It's like I can see you being this, this multimillionaire, but then I could see you, like having this, persona as Batman. I mean, it's just I don't know. It just sold. It just sold me.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Like I said, favorite actor, favorite Batman. Not favorite actor, but favorite actor of Batman.
Well, I have said that with Pattinson, I can see the Batman, but I have trouble seeing the Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And for Ben Affleck, it was backwards for me. I could see the Bruce Wayne, but I couldn't see the Batman. But when he got on screen, I was like, all right, like that's Batman. Like I like the suit was really good. I mean, his size alone, but I mean, just I don't know, like his delivery of his humor as Batman was decent. I like all those different things really like kicked it off for me. But I mean, him in the suit was what ultimately sold it. So
Yeah.
He didn't seem as pretentious. It just seems like for me, Bale as like I said, trying to keep. He tried so hard to be like the playboy type Bruce Wayne,
It just
and I'm
came
like,
natural for Ben Affleck.
yeah, and and it was just like he just had that natural swagger. I guess I don't know. It just seemed like it was just more natural.
there was a good development for Bale, like his struggle with it, and then he went from struggling to being able to like almost 50-50 it, like be Batman and Bruce Wayne here and there, to like completely nosediving and just being uh, the guy who disappeared.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm right there with y'all, Ben Affleck. Can I be honest though? I hope, and I'm only hoping this because I want a really good Batman movie. I hope that changes next week. Not that I,
It's
and the
gonna
only
take a
reason,
lot.
only reason it is going to take a lot.
It's gonna take a lot.
The only reason I say that too is because I know I'm not going to get Ben Affleck anymore as Batman. If Ben Affleck was still going to be Batman, I don't think there's anything Pattinson could do to change it. And to be honest with you, there may not be. I mean, Ben Affleck may just be that's Batman for me live action. But I do hope that changes. So fingers crossed, we'll see. Because I'm hoping that I just get a really, really good movie and a really good Batman. So, and the thing is, I know that Pattinson is going to be the Batman for the next at least 2 movies. So I'm really hopeful that it works out, man. Reviews so far have been good from what I've read.
I'm really trying to stay away from it. I don't care about being spoiled on it, but at the same time, I know that I won't carry my own like emotions and stuff into it with anyone else, what anyone else is saying. But at the same
Right.
time, like I don't know when I'm gonna be able to see it, so
Right.
I'm kind of really trying to gauge my expectations of like, do I want to know a little bit more, or do I just want to try to really stay away from everything? So
Right.
I don't want to see anything. Brian's gonna see it before me, and I'm sure he's probably gonna like about have a straight to tell me about it. And I'm like, shh, quiet. So it might be not be to the weekend or sometime next week. I'm gonna see that, or the week after, or the weekend.
I'm interested to see what happens. I've got a few questions that I feel like I need to be answered. I want to see how they address this stuff, just as a Batman fan walking in. But I'm open-minded, and I think that it's going to be a good movie. Reviews can be deceiving, so I've seen a lot of movies that got reviewed terribly that I loved, a lot of movies that got reviewed great that I hated. So I just I read up on what they are, but I don't put a lot of weight in a lot of reviews.
I'll read
Opinions.
the reviews afterwards because then it's like one of those. Like you said, it's like some great reviews on some really bad stuff, in my opinion, and then vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
And then
did you guys watch the new trailer? Or the last trailer that came out?
When did it? Do you know when it dropped?
Like last week?
I may have. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be really honest with you.
I watched it and I was happier. I think that the more that I've seen the trailers, it has really kept me like wanting to see it. Plus the fact that I know that it's actually coming out, like a DC property, like I can really buy a ticket for. I was pleasantly surprised. Like it put me more in the mood of wanting to see it rather than being pissed off that I saw too much.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll check it out whenever I get here. I don't know. I mean, it's coming Tuesday anyway, so there. Okay, well let's move on to the next one then. We won't go through top. We'll just do favorite. And I'll start with villain, but I'm pretty sure we're all going to have the same answer on this one, just based on the movies that we talked about. Pretty sure everybody's going to go with Heath Ledger's Joker, right?
Absolutely.
Best villain live action to date. On not saying it can't be topped, and not saying that everybody else didn't do well, but I think he's he set the bar.
Oh, did he? He turned it all the way up. Unfortunately, it was not the last thing that he ever did, but it was definitely the best thing that he had ever done.
Yeah.
I was a fan of the dude way beforehand. I loved Knight's Tale. Like I never watched the 10 Things I Hate About You. I think
I love that movie.
I never got into it. I just never. It kind of like went right by me. But I was a humongous fan of A Knight's Tale. I love that movie. This was the best thing that he's done.
That was a good movie. All right, let's see. How about favorite Gordon? We've had what now? 1, 2, 3, 4 Gordons. Circus is the 5th, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, okay. So favorite Gordon so far. I'll start for me. It's got to be Gary Oldman. Like I look at it and I see it. He worked perfect. I loved his role in those films, and he's just a great actor. So Gary Oldman was by far.
Well, he's the only one that really sticks out in my head. So obviously so. So
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I wanted to see him be. I wanted to see him be more. You know, I was looking for like a little bit more Detective Gordon, but it could have robbed away from the story that they were trying to tell.
Right.
Pat Hingle, I mean the OG, like for all of the other movies, the other 4 movies. I mean that dude was just a cop. He was just a face, you know, in a suit, but he was extremely memorable because he played Commissioner Gordon for 4 movies. So
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think.
Ooh.
Oh wait, I said Circus. Circus is not playing Gordon. He's playing Alfred, right? I don't know.
Yeah, he is. No, the new one is Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright, which I'm interested to see how he's going to do in this because I love him as an actor. I think he's going to do really well. But
so it's actually 3 plus him.
Yeah, I think I was mixing up Gordon's and Alfred's when I was counting. What I was doing is I was just thinking about Oldman that played. Who was the guy who played Gordon in? I can't remember. I don't know why his name slips me right now in the Snyderverse. Gosh,
J.K. Simmons.
Yes, I feel like he could have had the potential to be a really, really good Gordon. He just didn't get enough screen time. Didn't get enough action. We didn't get a Batman solo movie with him and Affleck. I think that could have been really, really good, but it just didn't get enough.
Well, for some reason, and like I said, I think it just. I love him. Don't get me wrong. But all I could think of was J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, because
that's his role.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's fantastic. So it's really hard to have someone, you know, that plays that role and put them in another, you know, semi-iconic role as well. It's really hard to differentiate the two.
I've got a couple honorable mentions. One of them being in this role. Ben McKenzie from Gotham.
Yes.
I thought he could be. I liked the direction that they took him in that show because he essentially leads the show. Right. I think that it's very cool to see what kind of Gordon you could have. Clearly it's not, I mean, it's live action, but it's a show and not a movie. Right. I think something like that would be fantastic because that's what you want to know about Gordon. You know, you want that background. You want to know how he became detective. You want to know that he's out there busting skulls, not to mention, you know, really simultaneously helping create these villains and trying to keep them tame before Batman shows up.
No, I 100% agree, man. He did a great job in Gotham. I'm sad I kind of fell off Gotham in the last season. Really, really into it the first couple seasons. And then I guess kind of the Flash effect. After a little while, it was just like I wasn't as excited for the episodes to come out. And then you miss a couple, and then you're like, oh, now I got to catch up. And then you just never go back to finishing them. So, but I thought that him as Gordon in that show, he did a great job. Who was the other honorable mention?
Well, no, I have another category.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, another category. We'll go straight from Gordon's to Alfred's. We've had a number of Alfreds as well. Who's y'all's favorite?
Oh, that's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see how Circus does as Alfred. I think this is an interesting choice, and the casting they have for this Batman movie is pretty insane.
I think
it's just
Go ahead. The Alfreds that they have for each movie, for each series. So you had Michael Goff, who played the original Alfred. You got Michael Caine, who played Nolan. And then you have Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons,
And I thought that each of them are phenomenal. I love Goff because of the simple fact that you got to age with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You went with him in the Batman movies, whereas like Hingle for the role of Gordon didn't do the same thing for me. But man, when you had like the Butler, who, yes sir, Mr. Wayne, like he was the animated series, like that's where they pulled from, and I thought that was really cool. I love seeing Irons work with Bruce Wayne. I love seeing him in there, like making shit. That's phenomenal. Like that's what you want. You want the not the sidekick, but essentially the guy in the chair. So
Yeah.
and I
Oddly enough,
love Michael Caine.
yeah, I'm the same with you. I love all three of them. I don't have a problem with any of them. It's just three different versions. But I think my favorite version, if I had to really think about it, would probably be from the original Batman series, like the first few movies. Just because when I picture Alfred as a butler in my head, that's what I picture originally. Now with stuff's changed, it's a little different with Alfred from Gotham and Jeremy Irons taking a different role in it, and we're going to see what Serkis's role is. I don't mind the character changing, but you're right. When I picture it in my head, that's what I picture was that butler, bringing you tea, and so for me that's probably the one I look at the most as Alfred. I guess that's the other thing too. Is I guess Alfred has to have a look for me. It's not necessarily it's more about the look than the tone.
Yeah.
But all right. So Alfred, we've gone through Alfred's, we've gone through Gordon's. Let's get into vehicles, man. Let me share this one right here. These are our Batmobile. Oh, why is it flickering? Well, these are our Batmobiles. Y'all can see them mostly. Which one is y'all's favorite Batmobile live action?
I like the Tumbler. I just loved it. When you first saw it, I was like, "Oh!" And of course, does it come in black? But the damn thing's got a motorcycle in it.
Yeah, the Bat Pod or whatever they call it.
I mean, how freaking cool is that?
Okay, that's the cool thing about it. Okay,
that's so cool. But I don't know. But then I still remember like the first time you see Keaton. It was just like, yeah, it was, yeah. It just depends. Each one hits kind of different. I mean, it's just.
I love all of them, but I do definitely have a favorite. What about you, Ross? What's your favorite?
It's tough. I mean, like here's the deal. Like when I saw the Batman Forever one come out, I was like, what the shit? What are we getting? What is this? Mm-hmm. I liked it. I didn't understand why the thing in the back went, V'd out or whatever.
Right.
I believe it was a center cockpit also, which I wasn't a major fan of. I liked the 89 one must be my favorite, but I love the Tumbler.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I hated that he had to go into some little center thing to fire. That made no sense to me. I hated it.
Not very tactical for a tactical Batman.
But the thing's like a tank, and I think that if they would have done a little bit like to style it, it would have been fantastic. I'm real iffy on the Bat whenever they had the flying version of it, because I thought that looked really strange. So I'm gonna have to go with 89, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, looking at all of them, I gotta say, just the 89 Batmobile is just the most Batman Batmobile you can get. So I do love Zack Snyder's a lot, but that's the most Batmobile you get. Now, if I'm getting one to drive for tactical purposes to be Batman, while I like the look of that one the most, I'm taking Zack Snyder's to drive and use because that's my second favorite. It's funny that well, I guess it's not funny. A lot of people love the Tumbler. The Tumbler's my least favorite of all of them. Not that it's terrible. I'd love to drive one. It just doesn't say Batman to me at all. Nothing about it is Batman for me. That's one of the parts about the Nolan trilogy. I was like, okay, it's cool. The fact that it's cool saves it, but it's not a Batmobile. And I get they're trying to do a totally different take, but it's not a Batmobile. Now, the Batman Forever one, Ross, the one you're talking about with the blue ribcage look, man, I was the same way, dude. I still think that thing looks badass. I don't like the V wings in the back. They probably could have done like some kind of just straight wing across the back, made it look a lot better. But man,
well, you see it in two different positions in the movie, and I don't understand. Like that makes no sense to me. You see it as one piece, and you see it like split open, like V'd out.
Yeah. That's true.
But
But
my other honorable mention, unfortunately, comes from an animated series, but it is the Batman animated
oh yeah,
Yes.
Batmobile.
oh
Yes.
yeah,
That's
Yes.
100%.
I'm a sucker for that bad boy.
Hmm. Yeah, that one I think actually is the best Batmobile there is, but the closest thing to it is going to be the '89 one. So yeah, I totally agree, man. The animated series one is phenomenal. I
Yeah.
want to drive that Batmobile. All right, let's go. Best bat suit. Who's y'all's favorite bat suit?
Affleck. I'm gonna throw that out there, just hands down, Affleck, because I like the little little ears.
I
But
We'll
if you
just say
agree.
it
look at
like
it
the
in
duck was Affleck.
comparison, it's so funny because Brian and I were talking about this before, and if you actually look at like, I don't think you realize with Bales, it's like there was like this little small cutout, whereas like the with Pattinson, it's like all the way back. So I mean, you have basically all of his face showing at
Just
the bottom
cheekbone,
half,
yeah.
but you didn't never realize how much of Bale's face is covered. I mean, literally, it's like right here.
Hmm.
It's tactical. I mean, like then that's really what I stick with. The whole thing is like an armored suit,
But I was
which
never really a big fan of like the long ears, like the really
yeah,
high. I was just like, okay, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I like the little short ones.
I love the short ears on Bale's suit. I love the suit looking more practical. I mean, obviously it's got padding in it, but it looks more like a suit you would move around in. I've never been a big fan of Batman being in an armored suit.
Hmm.
I don't mind armored suits for certain situations for different reasons, but I don't want your normal suit to be an armored suit. It's kind of my issue with Bale's suit. It looks cool. I like Bale's suit, but it just looks too armored. And it's kind of the problem I'm having with Pattinson's too. But we'll see if they can change it. Doesn't mean I'm going to hate it. I mean, because I ragged on Pattinson's suit a lot in the beginning because I was getting
Yes,
pre-production pictures and it just didn't look good.
with the
The more
collar.
I see it now, it looks pretty good. Yeah, I still stand behind that. It looked horrible then. The more I see it now, it looks pretty good. It's not going to be one of my favorites because it's just totally metal armored. But it's getting better for me. Put it that way. And then honestly, when I was younger, and I remember this when I was younger, this Batman and Robin suit, this George Clooney one with the gray and all that crazy stuff, I remember seeing that and thinking it was awesome at first.
yep.
And then I go back now and I look at it, I'm like, how in the hell could I think that was awesome?
You
Because
were
I
a
remember back in the day,
kid.
I was
I
like, man,
mean,
that is really crazy. Like, oh man, they're doing some crazy stuff with Batman. No, don't do
well,
crazy stuff
technically
with
they
Batman.
were.
Yeah,
No, they were.
they were.
They were.
They were. And then just looking at it out of all these suits, man, I'm looking at Keaton's suit too. It's just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful.
I mean,
I love that
it
thing.
was very stark, very stoic, very like if you saw him in the shadows coming after you, no.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just wreak havoc all over.
Yep. Ross, which one was your? Oh, I know yours is the Nolan one, the tactical.
Yeah, I'm,
Okay.
I'm a humongous Dark Knight fan, but I was pleasantly surprised with how much I liked the Affleck Snyder suit.
Yeah,
It took a while to grow on me, but it definitely did.
I think that was the thing too. It was so different. It had to grow on people. Like when you got
Mhm.
the Nolan trilogy movies. First of all, it was a big change from Batman being what not as many general audience would look at to being more practical and more people would watch and see. You got a totally different kind of suit than you ever saw back in the Schumacher. And I think the crazier the suits got back in that day may have been part of the reason that it steered things away from general audience because it looked like a kid's movie. And
Hmm.
for the most part,
Well,
Batman and Robin was a
uh,
kid's movie.
Sarah put it, right on the point there, and basically said, like, here's the deal: you're gonna have a comic book. You're gonna need the things to jump off the page,
Mm.
Hmm.
and those suits did it. They gave him a different reason to have a new suit each time. So that was
But then
interesting.
also from those movies to where when you did start with the Nolan trilogy, it's kind of like his suit was like a backstory. It's like a beginning. So it's like it's taken away like where kind of like with Batfleck. So where he's at, he's already he's got experience behind him. He knows what kind of suit he needs. He knows what works, what doesn't work, and this kind of thing. But like with Bale, and kind of like same thing with Pattinson, you're going to see it where he's starting out. So the suit's an evolution, because I think even within those 3 movies with the Nolan trilogy, I mean the suit did evolve. So you have to kind of look at it that way, and that's the cool thing about it too. Because with the other ones, I mean, we keep with 89 and Batman Returns. I mean, that was kind of, they went in tandem together, and the other movies were pretty much standalones. And then you brought in trilogies. When you do trilogies, you can have a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
You can have an evolution in that.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally did. We definitely saw changes in not Batfleck, in Bale's suits. And of all Bale's suits, I like the first one the best. They're both good looking suits. It's just, that it's just started to get too armored and crazy towards the end for me. Especially with a big powered Bane, and he can break your cowl. I was just like, I know that was just for the movie. You want to see the broken cowl.
I felt like that was a callback too to like the very beginning of Michael Caine taking the bat and smashing it, and like, it's a problem with the graphite. We'll have to order 10,000 more.
Yeah, I actually think it's a full comic. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not positive. That was pulled straight from a comic.
No, I think you're right.
And it's possibly why I did it. Yeah. All right, 2 more things to cover. Actually, I had 3, but I'm not really. What's your favorite Batman mode of transportation other than a Batmobile? Because he has some pretty cool ones. He had the Batboat. It's like a motorcycle, a couple of different aerial vehicles. Trying to think.
I like that little bat cycle out of the tumbler. I just thought it was cool shit. That's the way it came out of there, because I was like, it's like multiple malfunction, but next thing you know, he just drops and he just pops out, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. It was a cool ass toy too.
Yeah, of all the vehicles I've been looking at them all cool. I really like the Batboat from Batman Forever. Once again, it goes to that kind of ribbed effect, just look really cool. But I do think that this that I'm showing here from Batman from '89, from the Snyder movie was. I think that if I could ride any one of them, I would probably hop on this motorcycle here. It looks pretty bad, and it looks comfy as hell to ride.
I just don't understand the dynamic of the wheels. Like, that's always been weird to me. Like how they can just.
It's that Batman technology, dude.
I guess.
A little contrived.
I like the crazy thing that that Affleck had in, I guess it was in Justice League, that they were in the sewer in.
The thing that crawled at the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, the flying
fox.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it's called? I don't know the name of it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm trying to think. That was the flying fox. Either way. All right. Let's see. The last 2 things here. Best fight scene. All live action. There's been some good ones.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll go. I got to go warehouse scene. There's only one problem I have with the warehouse scene, and I can look past it. I like the concept, but the execution wasn't great, of where he reaches back and throws the crate over his head. Cool idea, but he's pulling it on a tether, on a string, off the ground, stopped, dead weight, slinging it over his head. That crate, even if it was empty, probably weighs 400 pounds. So it was like, well, okay. That's the only thing about that scene that I'm just like, I don't like that. But everything else about that scene is amazing. Absolutely. Everything about that warehouse scene, phenomenal. Even down to the end where he kills KGB. Like, that one is drawn straight from the comic. That scene, except it's not KGB in the comic, but that scene right there is right out of the comic book, which is awesome. But I love that scene.
I think I'm gonna have to go with you. I'm sitting here trying to like imagine all the scenes, and like I like what Bale does in some of his fights. Like I love the one where he's like, the pissed off prisoner, but at the same time, Like you get the grappling gun, you get everything in that warehouse scene. So that's a
And you
pretty
see
stellar
Batman
film.
vulnerable too. He actually gets stabbed. You see he's a person,
Yeah.
So, honorable mention for that would be Bale did a great. I thought the scene in the temple with Roz at the beginning, that was a great scene too. Really enjoyed that one. But you, Sarah, you got any stand out for you?
I like that nightmare scene.
Yeah, that was a good scene. You're right. I mean, it depends on if you have a problem with Batman using a gun or not, which I don't because he does historically in comics. Not all the time, but he has for sure. And especially in that moment when the world's coming to an end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking rule
But I
about
mean, the
using a
warehouse
gun.
scene, I agree with you fellas as well. But I mean, that was just one that just kind of stuck in your head. Which of course probably didn't help that I was talking to Brian about this earlier. So
I also love the Batman and Superman fight at the end of Batman vs Superman.
yeah,
Once again, the only thing I don't like about that fight is him tethering Superman to the string and spinning him around because, come on. If you ever try to pick up dead weight on a string like that from that far away, I mean, I get it. He's stronger than me, but damn, come on. Once you got it going, like once you got him swinging, then it'd be easy. That's easy then. But getting it started would be crazy. But once again,
Initial inertia, not a fan.
to be fair, he does like hit his little thing and start retracting it to make him move. So at that point, you just got to get him off the ground. So
There you go. That's what kicks it.
Yeah,
Simple
great
physics.
fight scenes. All right, and then last question: who's the best Bat voice? I think we'll differ on these two. Because let's see, we've got. I think everybody's given a different version of the Bat voice except Clooney. He just spoke like normal in the suit and out of the suit. He didn't even change his voice at all.
He might as well have his Social Security like tattooed on his upper lip.
Yeah. Property of Bruce Wayne inside the cowl on the tag. Yeah. For me, it's. I like Ben Affleck's. I like the modulator. For me, it makes the most sense. You can't even if somebody disguises their voice. If you see Bruce Wayne enough with his voice disguise, if I disguise my voice and mask myself, people are going to know who I am. So to me, it makes sense. But we also live in a world where all Superman has to do is put glasses on, and nobody recognizes him. So they get a pass for that. I understand. But to be practical, for me, the voice modulator makes the most sense. And I love the
Where'd Sarah go?
Yeah, exactly.
I stand by that picture of Zooey Deschanel. Like one where she's wearing glasses, and then one where she's not, and it looks like two totally different women. It reminds me of the redheads that look a whole lot alike.
Bryce Dallas Howard and
Jessica Chastain.
Isla Fisher, Jessica Chastain, like all those. Like I get like to a point to where I'm like, I don't know which one's which. I need to pull my phone out. Hold on.
I was trying to sketch that my wife, Oliphant and Doomerville.
Yeah. Josh Duhamel,
Duhamel, yeah. They look like I put them side by side and showed my wife. I was like, look at it. I was like,
I can tell the difference.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could, but they look very similar. It's like, wow.
Nice. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
That was it. That's all I got for Batman.
I would say Bat voice Affleck, yeah, but I wanted it a little less modulated. I think I don't know. Maybe when he got into the huh?
I thought you didn't like it.
Well, I think part of my distaste for it was that, like, I think when I saw it in BVS, just with him in the beginning, it didn't seem like a whole lot. But when he put on his, Superman killer suit and everything else just kind of clicked, I was like, I don't know if I'm a major fan. And so it took a while to grow on me. Look, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think that Bale's growling was anything to be proud about.
Yeah, that was a little overboard. That was a bit much.
Yeah, it's gotta hurt.
Overachiever.
It's gotta really, really hurt.
Yeah, exactly. All that aggression and just like.
Yeah, dude, the lips. I thought that when he played Bruce Wayne, he had that upper lip, that just sticks out like Bale always has. It looks like it's got that overhang. But man, when he plays Batman, it's just like it's spit and like it's like Homer Simpson, just where they're just rolling.
That's right. It's not who I am. Underneath, it's what I do.
That defines me.
Yeah. Okay, got you, man. Like, she definitely knows who you are. Just so you know. Like, there's no way she doesn't. But,
What did you say? I said I want the condensed milk. It's on the top shelf.
all right, that's all I got, Batman, y'all. Like I said, I tried to go over some favorites of just about everything everybody has an opinion on with Batman. I'm excited for this new movie. Like I said, I'm really hoping that I have a new favorite Batman after this. I don't think I will, just because I love Ben Affleck so much. But at the same time, I didn't think that I was going to like Ben Affleck's Batman better than Christian Bale's. I thought that I was going to like the movie better because of where it was going, the direction, the look. But I didn't think that I was going to like Ben Affleck better, and I did. So we'll never know. Well, we will know. I know too. Well, I know next week. Whether it's better or not. I always try to go into it with a Heath Ledger mindset. Like, that forever changed it for me when I hear castings. I'm like, okay, well, let's give this person a chance. They are an actor. Let's see what they can do. We'll see what happens with Pattinson. I've heard good things so far, non-spoilers. I'm going to be doing a quick little non-spoiler review after I get out of the theater, and then hopping on C3 Panthers podcast next Tuesday, and I'll probably be talking about with them too a little bit. But I'm not going to put any spoilers out there. I mean, unless you want to hear something specifically and you want to be spoiled, you can hit me up and I'll tell you something. But I'm not putting anything out in the public. Just my opinions and only stuff that's already been known. So I don't want anybody to lose the joy of being surprised on something that way, because I know I wouldn't want to be. But
is there something that you're really looking forward to in the movie, like that you don't know much about?
Or do you have any expectations?
I'm really looking forward to how they portray the Riddler and Penguin. I think that Colin Farrell is playing the role. I think that he's trying to take over that role of best Batman villain away from Heath Ledger, like with the prosthetics and everything else. And from the little bit I've seen of it, I think that he's really, really in this role. And I want to see how they handle Catwoman, because I'm yet to see them do a good job with that since Michelle Pfeiffer. So those are really big selling points for me. I don't know anything that Zoe Kravitz is in. I'm sure I've probably seen something. I think she looks the part great. She's gorgeous.
She's got a new movie on HBO. I think it's on HBO.
I need to check more out, but I'm just going to be interested to see what the dynamic is between her and Pattinson, because I want a romantic relationship between the two, because that's one of my favorite things about the DC is the bat and the cat, So those are some things I'm looking forward to. And I still really haven't heard Pattinson's voice. I want to see what the inflection is. I need to hear a little more of him talking on it. I'll save some of the other stuff for whenever I do the review, but there are some suit questions I have from stuff I've seen in the trailers that I'm like, well, I don't know how that's going to work, but if they give me an explanation,
it's a different version. They've got, because that's what I'm just going to do. Just going to keep open minds.
Exactly. But once again, I am hoping that I have a new favorite, which it very well could be, because Robert Pattinson's a great actor. He may not be in a lot of things that I love, but he's a good actor. So we'll see what happens. I know Matt Reeves is a great director.
I worry more that Pattinson bothers me less. I think that a lot of Catwoman in the trailers, I know this movie is going to be 3 hours, but I mean, I hope that they really tell a lot. But too much Catwoman in the trailers makes me worry about how much more we're going to get in the movie. I know we're going to get a good bit. I just don't know if they're giving us the best scenes yet or not.
Right.
We haven't seen enough of the Penguin. And as much as I like Colin Farrell, I don't know if I haven't been able to mentally accept him as the Penguin.
Luckily, when I look at him, I don't see Colin Farrell.
So not at all.
In my mind, I don't have to do that. I don't have to associate Colin Farrell with this character, because
I wish that they just would have attached his name and never told you who he's going to play.
Then you try to figure out who he was.
Yeah, if you could walk out of that movie theater and be like, what the hell was that? Where did that come from? That's amazing. That's what's going to get you that Heath Ledger kick. The fact that they're doing that with the Riddler kind of, is like I clearly that's the one that I'm holding on for. Like that's what I want to see. Like I hope that as much as they have been doing the leading into with the trailers, that really is the meat and potatoes of the whole entire story. So
I mean, reading the synopsis, I think that's what it's going to be. I think you're going to have the penguin in the background. It's going to establish the character, but he's not going to be a main like storyline throughout the whole thing. He's just going to be a part of the Rose Gallery in this universe. So I'm interested, man. Like I said, it looks good. I'm just I don't know. We'll see on
Just
Tuesday.
sit back and enjoy the ride. That's all
We'll
you
see
can
on
do.
Tuesday. Yep. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Shut up
I
and
think I'm gonna
color,
eat one of
baby.
those Batman pizzas before, or not the whole pizza, but I'm gonna get one of those Batman pizzas to eat before I go to the movie. So just for the hell of it. All right, y'all. That's all I got. So Tuesday night we'll be doing the review. I think next Friday we'll have a few things to talk about, and we got should have a comic review to do next week with the guests. Plans are fluid after that, but we're just covering stuff that's coming out. We got a lot of stuff coming out in the future, so there's never anything or a lack of content. But that we just got to cipher through what we want to talk about. But let's get out of here. Sarah, where can they find you if they want to talk about it?
Well, you can find me on the Twitter at My Lady Kitten. About to strangle some dogs out here because I'm like, just go outside. So if you hear some growling in the background, my apologies.
Mine are being too quiet, and I'm worried.
I know, right? Well, mine just woke up, so. But yeah, that's what you pretty much find me just on Twitter. If anyone have comments, questions, or whatnot, hit me up. I mean, I'm always open to talk. So try to keep Greg in the loop too.
Ross, they can find you here and nowhere else, correct? Gives you all the more reason
unless
to
I'm in St.
check
Louis
out the show
rolling
live.
on dubs.
Only this Batcave, right?
The only place on the internet you can find them. So that's the best reason to come here and check the show out live. And then you can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter is my personal handle. Hit up the show handle at SCS Podcast 1. We here live every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless life gets in the way, which sometimes it does. But the audio drops on Mondays. I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to say it's going to drop Mondays because now I'm making it a point to go ahead and set it up as soon as I get done with the show. Because it only takes a few minutes and I procrastinate too much. But it will drop Mondays on any podcatcher of your choice. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a review, tell a friend, all that good stuff. I'm going to be passing out SCS flyers of the Batman movie. I'm just going to drop some in different places.
Just make some stickers, man.
Yeah.
That's what all the kids are doing. Smack.
Definitely do what all the kids are doing. That's what I want to do. But all right, y'all. Let's get out of here. Till next week. Keep pounding.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Forgot that I did the end broadcast button.